In this video, I'll be sharing with you my DIY Pulk Sled that you guys can do for around $100. I'll put a list of materials and how much they cost and where you can get them. And if you guys follow along, you can do the same thing yourself. It took me probably about 3 hours to do all the, the tedious stuff, and it'd take you less time because I had to kind of figure it out and kind of, deal with the problems I had, which is why it took me a little bit longer. But if you're new to this channel, my name is Wes, and welcome to Backpacking Central, where we're all about hiking, survival, and preparedness. Let's get into it. So to start off, this is my sled. It's a black sled. The sled is it's a Chappelle Jet Sled Junior. I got this on Amazon. It was about $28, I believe. I'll put a whole list of all the list of materials, and this is PVC pipe. 10 feet of it, I just cut it right in half. And then 25 feet of this reflective orange paracord and 25 feet of the white paracord that's inside the two PVC pipes. I bought 3 of these straps at Walmart. One of them's here, one of them is going to be used to strap the stuff down, then the other one's for the hip belt. But how it works is, you put the belt on, a nice buckle, you flip these around, push it on back, and you just hook the carabiner in one, hook the carabiner in the other, and you have your system here for quick release. If the sled starts taking off down a hill or it tips over or falls, depending on what kind of hiking situation you're in, you just reach down and you unbuckle and it comes right off. I wanted a way to be able to quick release it rather than having a rope tied. But here's, once it's pushing it back, coming down the hill, you got something here to hold on to. You want to hold on to here, here, here. I left these strings here just in case for extra cordage and stuff. But it just pulls along like this and pushes back. And then when you're at camp and you want to disconnect, just disconnect like that. And you could fold them on back. And these twist, usually I have them like this. The PVC pipes down here, usually they're like this when they're pulling it. And then in order for you to rotate it back, you got to flip them this way in order for them to fold over, at least on my design. That's how I designed it. In addition, I made it so the last 2 holes that this rope goes through here, it comes around through here and up into the 2 original holes where the string came with. The sled came with a string, so these were the original holes, so I didn't have to drill. I was trying to avoid drilling as many holes as possible in order, to not weaken the sled and stuff. So this string comes down and comes through here, which then, actually by happenstance, the 25 feet of my orange paracords perfectly ended up here and can be used as a backup to pull the sled, with just a rope in case the PVC breaks or what have you. So that's a nice feature. You can lay that down. This is also reflective, so the stuff I put in the sled, I could drape this over for tying down, use it for many different things, but that was by design, but some of it was luck. And here's the other strap that I used, just the same old. This is just this was in the camping section of Walmart. I was actually going to buy some buckles and just buy some straps, but they didn't have any. So this is a strap. I'll also probably end up getting that spider web bungee netting. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that or heard of that, which is pretty cool. You could hook it to a bunch of different, ways, or taller or shorter things. So let's get into how I would pack this. I left this extra strap here, just in case, because I could use that for, an extra tie down or whatever, and just tie these together, and I'll show you that in a minute. So for my design, I can do one small one in the back here and put other stuff up there, my bag, any other stuff, depending on what you're taking. And I can put one bin, one small one that's not very high, low center of gravity. Or I could do 2, obviously, strapping down. I have some bungee cords here. I just bought this little pack of bungee cords, 20 bungee cords, 3 48-inch, 3 36-inch, 4 24-inch, 6 mini ones, and 4 canopy ties. Just, nice. It's got some weight to it, but you can put this one in the bins or put it up here or whatever. You can bring those with you. Allowed to strap them down side to side or whatnot, or put something on top, stuff like that. Still maintaining a low center of gravity, not having to deal with stuff that's very high up off the ground. And those bins were $5, pretty cheap, and I believe this one's $5 too. But I had this one, I didn't buy this one, but I will include this. You can get this one at Home Depot. I already have one of these, but you can get these. I think they're $5, but it's a bigger one. These are heavier, but obviously still fits in the sled here, or you can do one of these big ones, and you still have some relative space here depending on what you have in your bin and stuff. Will dependent on what kind of bin system or setup you want to do. You can also add one here, then you got the big one, the little one, for depending on how you want to split up your stuff. If you got multiple people or whatnot. And you can put your bag up here or stuff down there, and then you could do the full-on 3 bins, which makes it a little higher, probably higher than you should have it, but depending on what you're doing, where you're going, how long you're going, you're gonna have to tie this down, obviously, and you can put shove stuff down here through the middle to kind of push it to one side, or put it in the middle on both sides, to prevent it from rocking back and forth. But these, they don't fit perfectly in here. They fit relatively well if you get them right. That's kind of in there, and you can, obviously your straps will help with bungees or those straps or other stuff. So you can do the 1, 2, or 3. There's many different configurations to do it in addition to having room up here. So that is the setup for the buckets, the bins, whatever you want to call them. Here's a close-up of my hip belt. It just straps up front, obviously, and here, this is the front of it, and here are the 2 rings. You could get D rings too. They're a little more expensive. It doesn't really matter which one they are. Just keep them from rolling back and forth. But here's the way I did it. This is normally just a way to hold down the excess strap onto, when it's tighter. And I just added another one of these on from my other strap, and then looped the excess through it, and then went back so that it can be, the key is for it to be able to be pulled this way and this way, because there's several other ways you can do it. It would work this way, but it wouldn't work this way. So you need to be able to test it and put it on. You'll figure it out once you put it on, but you want it to be able to pull this way in addition to this way, because when you're going up and down hills, and and then it starts getting loose this way, this allows it to stay in one place when you're going. Pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty cheap. I think this strap was $2. I mean, I'll show it. And then the rings were a couple $, so it's a pretty, inexpensive way, to make a nice hip belt. And that's, comfortable. It's got, somewhat thick webbing. You could find a thicker one too if you want, depending on how much weight you're pulling. So to give a little bit closer look here, this is how my removable system works. We got a strap here, same sort of strap, and here's the extra tightener here. And all you do is you take these off, and this is also can be used for an extra tie down. You just take this off here, and you just pull the rope back through and up through here, and there it is. You do that to both sides. And for like storage at home or whatnot, if you can, put these PVC pipes together and just have to stack them up against a wall, and turn the sled sideways, depending on if you have limited space, it allows you to completely remove the PVC pipes from the sled. And you could also use this at camp too when you're hiking as a regular sled, to sit in and sled down a hill, which is also nice, to be able to remove these. And these are my rubber grommets here I put in to give some little more less stress on the rope here eventually, because it's the one pulling back and forth on the on that hard plastic there. I don't want it to cut the rope eventually just from moving back and forth a bunch of times. So here is the Pulk Sled. I got washers on top of each of the knots and underneath in the back one, in addition to a washer right here in it to just hold the rope in place. But I drilled 2 holes up here, and that allows the rope here. And this is tying. You tie it here, and you got the rope. Then you run the double strand all the way through the PVC, and it comes out the other side, and you just got 2 washers here. You can do one if it has a smaller hole inside, but I didn't want to make a huge knot, so you just put a washer here so the rope doesn't pull back, so it's tied at either side, which also, this gives you another, this is 12.5 feet on this pole and 12.5 feet on this pole, so one single strand that comes out here. You could use this for additional stuff. And then I just put another knot here for the other carabiner to hold, you know, pull this stuff. Pretty simple. And then this is 3/4 inch PVC pipe. By the way, this is the 480 psi one. It's just the standard 10-foot, and I just cut it in half. I'm a taller person, so I didn't want to have, you know, some people may make it shorter, 4, 3, 4, 4.5, whatever kind of feet. You can kind of feel it out for how you want. If you want the handles, you know, and if you're shorter too, and they're longer, you know, I could almost do even longer than this, but I didn't want to buy 2 separate 10-foot PVC pipes in order to do that. That would add to the cost, but maybe something, you know, depending on, you know, how I like this and how it works, maybe something I do in the future. And then I just use a hair tie. You can use a rubber band or string or whatever in the middle, and then you just cross them. And to give you guys a little bit closer look here are the knots on the underside here. There's the string running down, going up through the top, and there are the 2 washers there on the end. It's a pretty rugged sled, pretty thick. You guys can see here it's a pretty thick, pretty heavy duty. They sell like wear bars for when you're, you know, depending on what you're dragging it across, in order for that to wear out first rather than the sled. And then I will, you know, most likely eventually add fins to this for, you know, depending on how it tracks in snow, and if it slides side to side. These should help it depending on how packed the snow, but it's really hard snow or ice. It might slide side to side, so having some small fins in here that stick down a little bit will help it carve in and keep a straight line in the snow. And then this one out here, you can do all sorts of strings. You can just do over under. You don't have to necessarily do these kinds of knots here with the loops, but that allows you to have different options for tying down things. This is a pretty long strap here, and I just tied a regular little knot in the end of it so it doesn't come apart. And that is my DIY Pulk sled. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.